Trial is well underway in James Crumbly's case. James Crumbly, the father of Ethan Crumbly, the Oxford High School shooter who took the lives of four of his students, or four of his classmates, rather. His wife, Jen Crumbly, already convicted on this in the 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Are we going to see the same thing here with James? That's the question. Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent, joining us. I'm going to just throw that one out to you right there. Is this going to be just a repeat of the same thing we saw with Jen?
I think it is. I think we're going to have the same result. Although I find very interesting in this case, Tony, is the makeup of the jury.
Okay.
First of all, the jury is 100% Caucasian.
Hmm.
Second of all, it's mostly women.
Hmm.
And there are a lot of individuals on that jury that apparently have a lot of dealings with mental health issues within their families. So they're familiar. And there are also a lot of gun owners and even people against gun ownership.
Hmm.
So I find this jury makeup is interesting because where they're coming from.
Yeah, I mean that is an interesting thing to take a look at. I did get a chance to look at some of the questions that were asked of the jurors when they were doing jury selection. I know there was some objection there from the prosecution, stating that some of these questions, don't really truly go to the depths of what we're talking about. There was a comparison, I know, of if you bought your child a vehicle, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing here. I don't have the actual question in front of me. And then they went out and used it, or their friend went out and used it and committed a crime and ran people over. I get it, but the argument is not the same as a gun. I mean, a car's intended purpose is transportation. A gun's intended purpose is defense. It's killing. It's not just going to the range. It'd be like saying, well, then your car is only for a racetrack. It's not the same sort of analogy to be making. With the jury being, with the makeup of how you described it, do you feel that they did a good job with jury selection? Is this a fair, group of individuals to be making decisions on this, or should it be more diverse?
Well, I think it's counterbalanced in terms of their philosophies. I'm surprised it's not more diverse.
Hmm.
I do think the fact that it's made up, largely by women as opposed to men, certainly will likely help the prosecution,
Hmm.
I think. Um, but, at the end of the day, Tony, it's the set of facts that I think are going to be the reason why we're going to see the same outcome.
Yeah.
It's really something. I was reviewing before our conversation these messages of this child that just over and over again was reaching out for help.
Yeah.
Um, one of the messages, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's talking to his buddy, who, by the way, his buddy was very quickly removed and had to move, which was, I think, one of the reasons, the impetuses for this action by Crumbley for mental health issues.
Hmm.
He was removed and put into, for mental health issues. So I'm just saying that these friends, I think, probably related on some
Yeah.
levels of what they were suffering and going through. But in one of these messages, he says, I tried to talk to my dad about this, and he gave me some pills and told me to suck it up.
Yeah.
And my mom laughed. Um, that just looks, they're going to read these,
Yeah.
and those women on that jury are just going to cringe because they're mothers.
Yeah, it's chilling. I mean, it's chilling to say that to your child who is literally begging you for help. And in the big picture here, we got a bunch of dead kids at the end of this. That's the result of these choices that were made and this guidance that was given to a human being, Ethan Crumbly, the son of James Crumbly. So this is a dad giving this advice to his son who is literally begging for help. And there's a lot of ways I could look at and say, not everybody is extremely well versed in mental health and what it means, and if somebody is suffering from depression or anxiety or personality disorder or whatever it may be. That's a good chunk of our population fairly clueless on it. But you would reasonably expect, even if you are not very well versed in it, even if you don't believe in taking pills, even if you don't believe in therapy, whatever it may be, if your child is asking for help and making illustrations of killing his classmates, I don't know in any way, shape, or form how a reasonable response would not be to try and get that kid help in some way, shape, or form. But it feels like they just like, like you said, they just kind of laughed at it. Like, "Yep, go suck it up. We got all of our drama over here. We're dealing with you. You figure you out. Like you're the parent. Be a parent.
Right. And by the way, we're not going to give you help, but we will give you a gun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, their form of help instead of getting him help was buying him a gun. You're exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such poor choices. But I will say, and I said this in the other trial, that it's so clear to me they just did not get it.
Hmm.
They really didn't get it, even when, the shooting is going on and they're made aware of it. And he looks and he sees the gun is gone. He thinks Ethan is going to kill himself.
Hmm.
It doesn't really, register to him that he's going to kill others.
Yeah.
And I think that that really points out, I said that from the beginning. I think these parents just so were out of touch with their child
Yes.
that
Yeah.
they just didn't understand the degree that he was suffering, that he was having serious issues.
Hmm.
And I don't think the jury's going to forgive that because, like you said, at the end of the day, we have dead children because
Exactly.
of these choices.
Yeah, it's not just a crime was committed or something minor happened. Dead kids, and there's consequences to the actions. There's consequences to not getting it too. I don't. I think that's kind of the angle they may be going on as well. He was sad, he was depressed, he lost his job, he's just trying to make ends meet, doing DoorDash, and in a lot of ways he was, but that still doesn't dismiss you from the job of being a father, of being a parent that's at least somewhat in tune to what's going on with your child and helping them where they need it. Even if you don't get it, if you don't get it, there should be consequences to those actions, whether you got it or not.
I agree. And when you look again, I'm going back to some of these text messages that I think are going to be really damning, where Ethan says, "Oh, my dad left the gun out, and I guess I'll do whatever with it," or words to that effect. Um, that tells me, and I think it's going to tell a jury how they didn't care
Hmm.
for that gun properly.
No.
They made serious safety decisions that jeopardized and caused these deaths. And at the end of the day, in a way, his actions were more egregious than hers because it seemed like he was the one in charge of the gun, if you will.
Hmm. Yeah, I think both have been are completely accountable in this. Have you ever seen a case? I mean, it's a unique one without a doubt, but where essentially two people are charged with roughly the same crime, and one walks and one doesn't. The evidence is really pretty much the same in both.
No, I do not understand why this is going to trial, other than the fact that likely the state was just not going to waver and give him any plea deal. That's the only way this could have happened because any attorney and any defendant looking at this, especially after they severed and were tried separately, should look at the results of one and realize that's going to be the result here.
Yeah, I can't see it any other way. Hey, it's Tony Brueski. If you like the podcast, be sure to like, subscribe, and press that bell so you don't miss any of our updates on the cases we're following for you right here at the Hidden Killers podcast from True Crime Today. And thanks